Now let's go to the latest from the Twitter files, exposing a scam that many in the mainstream media, from the New York Times to Politico to Mother Jones, well, they fell for this scam over and over again. The Hamilton 68 scam saw people falsely accused of being Russian agents. Glenn Greenwald explains an example of this.
They just swallowed it like whole cloth. They started using this Hamilton 68 dashboard to accuse people of being Russian agents and stories being promoted by the Kremlin. So here's a February 2018 story by Politico entitled "Russia Pushes More, quote, Deep State hashtag." They were trying to say that the term deep state was a Kremlin-pushed and a Kremlin-concocted propaganda term, even though the term deep state has been used to describe the United States security state for decades by leftist foreign policy scholars and paleo-conservative ones as well. Overnight, it suddenly became one that was supposed to be a Russian disinformation campaign. Quote, after the success of the viral, quote, "Release the Memo" campaign, which they also blamed on Russia, Russia-influenced Twitter accounts are test-running other hashtags designed to stoke anger, particularly among supporters of President Donald Trump.
So here we have supposed anti-disinformation campaigners deliberately pushing disinformation about Russian collusion. And what's clear from the Twitter files is that they knew it was bogus, or they should have known it was bogus. Certainly Twitter knew it was bogus. And really, nothing was done to challenge this narrative. It seems the determination to oust Trump justified just about anything, Sophie.
That's right, Rita. And it seems here when disinformation occurs, certain groups only attack it if it suits their narrative. And in this case, it didn't. So they wanted to leave this disinformation out there for everyone else to pick up on and treat it as if it was correct information. So this is the problem we have, particularly with social media, that especially left-leaning sites on social media where they don't stamp out disinformation because it doesn't suit their narrative.
But it's not just social media, because we're talking about mainstream media. We're talking about media giants like the New York Times, and yet when they fall for these scams because it suits their political point of view, there's no accountability when it's all exposed as a hoax. They don't come out and say, OK, we got it wrong, and to at least inform their audience, because there are so many Americans who to this day think Russia fixed their election. They think Russia colluded with the Trump campaign, despite that entire conspiracy being debunked. Now, Matt Taibbi, he's been behind a lot of the Twitter files. He says the dashboard was headed by former FBI counterintelligence official Clint Watts and funded by a neoliberal think tank, the Alliance for Securing Democracy. And he writes, what makes this an important story is the sheer scale of the news footprint left by Hamilton 68. You can see the digital McCarthyism, he calls it. It was widespread. Shocking stuff, Sophie. And I think part of the reason the media is ignoring this entire story is because they were complicit in pushing the disinformation, because you can look through mainstream media and there's not a great deal being reported about this Hamilton 68 scandal.
Why would there be, Rita? Because it makes the media outlets that went along with this look stupid, and the social media outlets as well. So in a way, they're just turning a blind eye and saying nothing to see here. And this is why some media outlets let themselves down, because they're not trusted, because they're not covering the story when it's realised that it is false. They ignore it.